Hi, welcome back to Susan's Kitchen Corner, and today we're going to make Scottish scones. This is my 202nd video, so let's get started. We're going to need 2 1/4 cups flour of self-rising flour, and to that we're going to add 2 teaspoons of baking powder. So let's get that in there right now. Okay, we're also going to need a tablespoon of olive oil. You can use vegetable oil, that's okay. I particularly like to use olive oil in baking, that's just me. We're going to need 1 egg. This is a large egg. You can also use 2 smaller eggs. Now remember, when you add liquid to flour, you got to be careful. I'll show you how to do that. We're going to also need chilled milk, about 3/4 cup, which I already have here in the freezer. So we have really cold milk. So what we're going to do is we're going to put our egg, actually let me get the measuring cup. This is just flour in it. It's not going to hurt anything. So we're going to pour it, crack the egg right into the milk. And then we're going to put our tablespoon of olive oil right into that. Get a fork. And we're going to whisk this around until the egg is all nice and broken up. And we're going to also add, not this much sugar, but this recipe calls for a tablespoon of sugar. You don't actually have to add the sugar, but I'm going to add it anyway. So we're going to add just a tablespoon. Like that. And make sure I got everything here. So let's mix this together. Mix the sugar, the baking powder. Now, self-rising flour is a lot more finer than regular flour, so when you mix it around, it tends to poof everywhere, so just be a little bit more gentler. Okay, that's good enough. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add this to it. This is a coffee scoop that I've turned into a scoop. This is about 2 tablespoons, so we're just going to pour that in there. 1, actually 2, 4, 6, because this is not a tablespoon. And what we're going to do is this is a really super loose dough. We're not going to. This is a dough that you do not need. Well, actually, you do need it to make the scones, but you don't need it, as in using your hands. Because sometimes you have the bread doughs and need it for 15 minutes, need it for 5 minutes. And what I like to do is I like to chop into it, because when you chop, then you're breaking those clumps up and the wetness. So let's add some more. We do that so it doesn't get overwhelmed. Again, this is really super loose. And these scones go excellent with honey, whipped butter, jam, basically anything you can think of, and they're great as a side for breakfast. Now see, as you can see, our dough is getting a lot more crumblier. So you want to keep on doing that until all that loose stuff. Now, when we pour it out onto the, a little bit more. When we pour it out onto the board, it's going to crumble. That's perfectly fine. That's just the way this dough is. Let's add some more. Two more. Oh, there's the rest of the egg. This should be about, yeah, because this, we do not want to make this a really wet dough. We want this to be really, really dry and crumbly. Okay. Let's get that off, and it's starting to stick, so that's a good sign. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our, it's kind of like making tortillas. We're going to take it back of our hand, and we're just going to press it down gently. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take it, and this is kind of the fun part because you're just going to, we're not kneading, we're just kind of making a ball. Think of making corn tortillas. Because we're not kneading it, we're just pressing it until it forms a ball. We want to get all that stickiness there. Now see, I have a lot of, depending how much flour you use, I got my ball going, but still have all this. See, there's the ball right there. It's really loose. It's got crags in it. It's falling apart, but that's what we want. And we just want to press that into a ball. But we still got a lot of stuff in here. So let's do this. Let's add the rest of this to that. Now let's stir it up. And there we go. Let's get that out. Now this is going to be a little bit wetter. And actually, let's just stick that in there and press it to it. It's going to fall apart again because it's just the way it is. And let's just press it in there as best we can. Just kind of we're not kneading it. We're just kind of like incorporating it into. Now this is really sticky. This is perfectly fine because that's what you want. And this is what I do to get it off sometimes. Just kind of rub your fingers together. I need a little flour. That's what I need. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to put it on the cutting board. And what we're going to do, oh yeah, and keep it from sticking on the cutting board, we're going to add a little bit more flour to the cutting board. It is perfectly fine. So we're going to see how this is all just, this is just a really, it's not smooth dough, it's a really, really just craggy. It's falling apart, that's the way you want it. Now, before I flatten this out and make my scones, you can use either a 3-inch cookie cutter, you can use a 3-inch flour cutter. I don't know what this is, particular name of this cookie cutter is, but make it look pretty. You can use a small one. So, however big you want to make this. So basically what we're going to do now is we're just going to press. We're going to press this out. And be sure to have your cookie tray that's already sprayed, which I do. So we're going to set that right here. We're going to set our oven to 425. And we're going to leave them in there for 14 minutes. But remember, depending what size you make them at home, because they're going to be a little bit different in size and shape than mine, then what you're going to do is you're going to watch them, and when they're nice and golden brown on top, then that's when you're going to take them out. Now, you just had a little snafu there, that's perfectly fine, so flatten this out as much as you can. And so about, you want them the size of your, if you have a long nail, but you want them the size of this part of the nail. So just right, let's see if I can, just right to where your nail comes up. Now if you have a long nail and you're sticking your nail down, that's a little bit too high. So let's use our nice pretty one. Make one. So here's our first scone. See how a little pretty? Put it down. Make another one. See how easy this is? No kneading. Just mixing until the dough sticks together. And what I like to do is I like to make a whole bunch of these and then freeze them after they're cooked, of course, after they're cooled down and cooked. And then what you do is when you have breakfast, scrambled eggs with bacon, or you just want a little side something with your breakfast, honey, these are really good. So let's just fold this back on itself. See how easy this is? Just fold it back on itself. If it's sticking, add a little bit of flour. Turn it over. Spread it out. Let's make a little bit more. Another one. There's another one. And again, it's up to you what you size you want. If you want to make them really thick, you can, because these are pretty thick, so they're going to be pretty light and fluffy. You can make them thinner. Okay, so there's nothing really to this. And this is getting a little sticky, so let's add a little bit more flour. Another one. This is just a really, now I have another scone video, but it's a completely different type of scone. It's a sweet scone. These are not sweet, but they're texture based. They're really good. I mean, they're really good. So what I'm going to do with the last bit of the scone dough is I'm just going to form it into a ball, press it down, and get it into the shape. Now, here's another trick I do. You put it inside here, and then press it out. So it has the same shape, so you don't have like the one that's the odd one. So, somewhat, okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Here we go. And we put these right into the oven at 425. We're going to leave them in there for 14 minutes. Now, depending on how big they are, they might want to cook a little bit longer. The case in point is watch for them to turn golden brown. And I will see you back here in about 14 minutes. And hopefully my oven will make them nice and golden brown top. I have one of these little ovens that it doesn't, because I make pretzels, and half of them will be nice and golden brown, and the other half will be just white as, just white, nothing, but they're done. And I will see you later in a few minutes. Okay.